What's up, team? This is Frank playing the game to avoid if you're thalassophobic. This is a quick and dirty review on Subnautica. So when Subnautica added VR implementation, I bought it right away. The premise of being a castaway on an alien planet with only your wits and a makerbot seemed like a great backdrop for a sandbox survival game. Imagine picking up coral in VR with your hands, or using the cave walls to push yourself in any direction like an Echo Arena. However, my first impressions were subpar as hand presence was not introduced into the game and I was forced to play this first-person perspective game on a controller instead. The developers tried their best to convert the visceral actions of swinging weapons and mining goods, but I constantly found myself forgetting which button did what. I can't remember if it's the left or right shoulder button to dive or resurface. How do I deploy this tool? Is it the A button or the right trigger? What button starts the self-scan ability again? Sometimes I end up trying random buttons, making my character spasm and do odd things, which must make the sea life around me wonder how our species ever invented space travel in the first place. Other times result in infuriating circumstances, like the time I accidentally threw my flashlight away while swimming over the bottomless depths. To avoid all this frustration and needless time wasting, I decided to practice using a keyboard and mouse on a monitor before progressing too far into the game. The controls here are much better since I already had controls mapped out for jumping, sprinting, and firing from other games I played. Once I had the controls down packed, I tried out VR again. The first thing I noticed was the odd choice of loading screen. I mean, this is the loading screen. Not bad, huh? Well, imagine this picture blown up 100 times and then placed 6 inches away from your face so that all you can see is this. Then imagine that it's strapped securely to your head so that when you try to crane your neck to look at the entire image, the screen will move with your head, causing a very uncomfortable and jarring experience in VR. Because of this, I tend to just close my eyes and wait for the game to load instead. Okay, finally, the loading screen is passed. Can I open my eyes? Yeah, oh my god, this is amazing. It's hard to express just how cool games become when you play them in VR. The scale of everything just blows me away. Sure, these creep vines look tall on a monitor, but now they're impressive, towering, and intimidating, and these aggressive stalker things make me pee a little every time they chase me in VR. The flora and fauna in this game are really impressive. Typically, games will introduce different enemy types which you'll learn to dispatch and move past, but that's not really the case in Subnautica. The game gives you very little by way of objectives, so my first thought was that I would have to kill everything in the area. I soon found out that some creatures were completely docile and caused me no trouble. Others only chased if I got too close to their habitat. This made me think about my actions as I explored. I also soon learned that these stalker creatures search the ocean floor and carry scraps and other things they find into their lair, like kleptomaniacs who just saw a huge piñata explode in the sky. This was interesting. It's like these beasts were providing a function in this ecosystem. They served a purpose, and I began to fall for the world the game laid before me. But you can't spend all your time exploring. You'll also have to, well, survive. You start the game as an ejected crew member, and your life support pod is equipped with a makerbot which lost 90% of its memory. Because your makerbot can literally craft you everything from the gear you wear to the dinner you eat, you'll have to scrounge around the area as your only source of food, water, and shelter. After your basic needs are met, you'll learn how to use your tools for exploring, hunting, and gathering. I find the exploration elements to be the most enjoyable. The playable space is very large, and it's serene to discover and identify new life as it moves and flows so organically. It's easy to get so immersed in the world around you that you can lose yourself in a deep cave and get completely disoriented while your oxygen depletes. This is actually something your computer warns you that happens to real-life scuba divers. Oh yeah, your computer is a disembodied voice which assists you with everything. It'll inform you about the constitution of the stuff around you and help you catalog what you can make with it. And if you do a self-scan, it will actually monitor your own health as you try to survive this strange alien world. Being legitimately worried about the drinking water I filtered by straining it through this fish called the bladder fish, and instead spending the extra time to find materials to disinfect the water just adds to the immersion. The early game really keeps you tethered to your life pod. The world is just too big, deep, and unforgiving for you to venture too far out. Learning how to survive over the course of days and finally being able to build a sea glide which will let you explore farther out to potentially visit the mothership or to find some crazy deep underwater cave always presents you with a new challenge to overcome. Nothing in this game comes as easy as it first appears. Just when you think you have a handle on things, oops, there's a day and night cycle. I can't see the ocean floor. I need a flashlight. Oops, my battery died. I need to find out how to get more power. Oops, this cave is too deep. I need to upgrade my swimsuit and oxygen tanks. Oops, this giant monster is acting like I owe it money. Better travel back to my lonely life pod and cry myself to sleep again. The entire time I played this game, I kept longing to find someone else alive. Why am I alone? Why isn't anyone else out there? What the heck happened? So I kept exploring, all the while eating, upgrading, and reading crash logs, and the game kept surprising me with its depth, clever gameplay elements, and interesting biomes. In keeping with the water theme, the game is a lot like an iceberg. Everything I've mentioned in this video represents just the tip above water. I would be remiss if I ruined all the stuff under the water's surface as well. And that's it. That's everything you need to know about Subnautica. Well, sort of. The The game keeps throwing new mysteries and curveballs my way, and it's really fun and challenging to stay ahead of the curve. Solving each challenge as they're presented gives you a sense of accomplishment, and you really feel proud as you reach each new plateau of stability. However, many people will not give this game a chance simply because of the unfortunate control issues in VR. Without proper hand presence, the gamepad is functional but less than ideal. I'd much rather use the keyboard and mouse. For example, the gamepad can't specify an item slot. When you try to quick slot something, it will force the item into the first available slot or shift everything over and give it the first slot in the item bar. This drives OCD players like me nuts. Also, the gamepad causes you to move like you're in a tank, where your head orientation controls the cannon and the analog sticks control the tank treads. This can be annoying at best or life-threatening at worst when you're desperately trying to orient yourself away from a threat or when you're trying to get out of a complicated cave structure. The keyboard and mouse, once you've learned the controls, fare much better. However, using them in VR inexplicably causes my mouse to disappear when I use the menus. I had to do a search online to see if this was a bug that everyone had, and apparently there's a workaround fix the community found. You'll need a gamepad controller so that you can go into those settings and enable gaze-based cursor mode, which lets you look at and select items with ease. But why hide this option in the gamepad options only? Plus, when I first started playing this game, I didn't know how to reset my HMD, so early on I had my keyboard and mouse, gamepad, and Vive controller all sitting on my desk just to play this game. It wasn't until much later on that I learned about the VR Enhancement mod to use through Vortex. It fixes some of these issues as well as the awful character model placement in VR, which causes the Sea-Glide to sit directly in front of your eyes, and also fixes other things like allowing me to see my knife when I had it equipped, and to read subtext which otherwise fell off screen. My computer runs the game in VR at a reasonable rate. I do notice screen tear and dropped frames on my underpowered PC, but it's nowhere near as bad as other games I've played. If you're into exploration, crafting, and survival games based on a distant alien world, this game could be quite the treasure. The game's immersion is really improved in the VR space, so long as you can look past the silly VR menu controls and the terrain detail pop-in. If you're into games that hold your hand and explicitly tell you what to do and how to do it, you'll have a lot of trouble in Subnautica. I found myself scouring forums, wikis, and Reddit posts often when I was stuck, but I found the game was worth the inconvenience of a few internet searches. Lastly, if you simply want to be immersed in an expansive sandbox on a unique alien world, maybe pick this game up on sale, as there's a freedom mode for some casual swimming and exploring without the tedium of hunger and thirst. And remember, this was a quick and dirty review on Subnautica.